I'm Mary, and welcome to Biblio Banter, a show where we talk all things books, from book tags to reading challenges, book crafts, anything book related, you'll see it on this show. So today's episode is all about the Book Lover Survival Tag. It is an older tag, it's from 2017, but it's a great way to kind of introduce you guys to the books I like to read. The Book Lover Survival Tag was originated by Penguin for the release of their book, A Map for Wrecked Girls, by Jessica Taylor. It's available from Dial Books, which is an imprint of Penguin's. A Map for Wrecked Girls is about two sisters, Erin and Henry, and they grew up super close. They're a year apart. But something happened sometime in their high school years that split them apart. Well, you learn this through a series of flashbacks. Is when you first meet Erin and Henry, they've been shipwrecked on a desert island with a boy. And you don't know how they got shipwrecked, but you do know that Erin is really concerned about the fact that they're on this desert island and Henry really isn't speaking to her. And then through a series of flashbacks from the previous school year, you kind of get information about why the sisters split apart. So A Map for Wrecked Girls is all about their survival on a desert island and their way back to each other. Again, by Jessica Taylor from Penguin. So on to the book tag. Book Lover Survival Tag asks the question, if you were trapped on a desert island, what 6 or 8 titles would you want to have with you? Well, 6 or 8 titles for a book lover is super difficult because I could think of 6 or 8 series I would want with me, and they're, several titles long. But my top 8 choices would be the first one, A Cook's Tour by Anthony Bourdain. Because if I'm on a deserted island, I have to figure out what I'm going to eat. And it's either going to be seaweed or fish. And I guess I really should have brought a survival guide with me, but it's boring. And it's really not going to help me anyway, because let's face it, in a zombie apocalypse or a desert island, I'm going to die in like 10 minutes anyway. So we're going to go with A Cook's Tour so I can dream about the food I could be eating instead of the food I am eating. Cook's Tour is by Anthony Bourdain. It's actually an adult title. It's nonfiction. And it's his narrative of his travels around the world while he's preparing to film his Cook's Tour TV series. It's a great illustration of people and places. The description of food is amazing, and the description of the consequences of eating some of that food is terrifically funny. It's a great read. We go from terrifically funny to gritty and emotional. One of my favorite genres to read is historical fiction, and Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wein, available from Hyperion, is one of my top historical fiction novels for YA. It's about women in World War II in unusual roles. One is a pilot and one is a spy, and you get the story through the confession of the spy and the diary of the pilot and how they related. It's incredibly gripping, incredibly emotional. The bond between the two women is super strong. As a note, there is some violence and descriptions of torture because of the spy leading to her confession. It's not terribly graphic, but it might be a trigger for some younger teens. So once you've been emotionally traumatized by Codename Verity, you can go for your light and whimsical magic, because I'm a fantasy lover and I'm also a super big Ghibli fan. Howl's Moving Castle is one of my favorite Ghibli films, and I discovered it was a book by Diana Wynne Jones, and it's just as good as the movie. You get all of the wonderful magic, all of the wonderful characters. Sophie is cursed by the Witch of the Waste and ends up in Howl's Moving Castle as his cleaning lady, but he doesn't know it because she's old. That was the curse. And she discovers Calcifer, the fire element. She has to discover the bond between Howl and the fire element. It's whimsical, it's magical. It makes me think of the movie, so I can spend hours dreaming about the movie while I'm on my deserted island. So Howl's Moving Castle is a favorite and a friend, but since I'm alone on my island, I have to imagine friends with me. And the only way to do that is with Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, available from St. Martin's Griffin. Fangirl is about a freshman in college, Cather, who writes fan fiction about Simon Snow, which is their equivalent to Harry Potter. So every geek girl and every Harry Potter fangirl must read this book. It's the characters in it feel like your best friends. The story is very upbeat, and it makes you kind of live through the freshman year of college. They have emergency dance parties, and it's now available in manga. Make sure I have to bring this with me. It's one of my top books of all time. And yes, while so far it's been magic and fiction and food, I also have to have classic. Yes, I read it in high school. Yes, you should read it in high school too. Yes, you should read it after. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte is my top classic reading book. It's got a great gothic ghost story to it. The characters are really relatable. Jane in particular is a great, strong female character. And it has my fictional crush, Edward Rochester, so I can dream about him along with my friends on my deserted island. Jane Eyre, classic. Build your brain while you're on the island. And we go from classics to sci-fi. Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, about children, space, battle for the universe and the planets, and the kids in it are way smarter than any adult you'll ever meet. The world building is super detailed, and the sociological element to it, of like how you have to view your enemy before you can really understand them, is really interesting, and it keeps your attention for a really long time. Plus, it's part of a series, so if you don't have Ender's Game, you can bring another one of the series with you to the island. Gives you options. And any book lover trapped on a deserted island, of course, must bring a Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. I specifically chose the last one because I think it has the best description of all of the characters in the series. Plus, if I'm reading the last one, I can spend the previous 6 days dreaming about what the other books were and remembering them, so to waste the time on the island before I get to the best book of the series. And of course, I mean, you're on a deserted island and you need books. Why would you not bring Harry Potter? Which then brings me to my top choice, my most prized possession, Rocket Boys. It's my autographed copy, which makes it super special to me. Rocket Boys is a memoir by Homer Hickam Jr., available from Delacorte Press, about his life growing up in a coal mining town in the late 60s when the space race was just starting. And one night in his high school years, he sees Sputnik fly over, and Sputnik is newly launched into space. And this sparks his ambition to work with Wernher von Braun and NASA to build rockets. And this is all about Sonny Hickam and his friends teaching themselves rocketry. It's really relatable. Even though it's in the 60s, you can see yourself with these high school boys doing all of this stuff, the silly pranks they get into. It's laugh out loud funny. The science explained in it is really easy to grasp because they're learning it. And even though it's nonfiction, it reads like a novel. It's what got me into reading nonfiction. So it's definitely worth a try if you haven't read nonfiction before. I really recommend it. That's why it's my top choice to bring with me on a desert island. So I hope you enjoyed learning about what I would read on a desert island. Check us out on our Instagram at our Book Lovers Survival tag, and tag us with what books you would bring with you. I hope to see you next time.